Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well folks, it continues, and you might be asking, well, what exactly is continuing? The mass resignation in the city of Chicago, of course within the world of law and law enforcement. Mayor Lori Lightfoot and her prosecutor henchwoman Kim Foxx continue to get embarrassed on national TV. And you notice how you never see situations like this happening anywhere outside of Manhattan, Chicago, San Francisco, and Los Angeles? Well, that's clearly for good reason, because these leftist leaders, it's hard to call them that word, have proven to be absolute failures on the issue of law enforcement, of course police reform, everything that entails it, community reform, public safety, and it's not coming from a partisan point. You know, when I say we keep hearing stuff like this out of Manhattan, Chicago, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, it's generally not coming from Republican sources. It's not an unfounded partisan attack. It's coming from within their own ranks. These cities have become so out of control under the non-leadership from people like Kim Foxx and Mayor Lori Lightfoot that it's their own party members that are calling them out, and it's people who work under them that continue to resign. The most recent updates that we have in the city of Chicago are from a Chicago 911 police dispatcher who is officially leaving his post, and as he exits, he's going on the record in the media absolutely blasting Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and we're seeing the same thing out of Kim Foxx's own office with another resignation following the exact same model, absolutely blasting Kim Foxx on the way out. And so obviously you know exactly what we're going to cover in this video. It's very clear that the Democrat Party is the party of lawlessness, the party of enabling crime. I got a bunch of things I'm going to show you. We've got some stuff to cover, so let's roll the tape. Alright friends, so take a look at this scathing condemnation of Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Her ego is bigger than the crime level. Resigning Chicago 911 dispatcher blasts far left Mayor Lori Lightfoot's lies, lack of support, and misplaced priorities. Take a look at this.
It's a very bittersweet week for me, but with no leadership. I've said this over and over. No transparency from the city hall here in Chicago, and just a very negligent administration. It was just time. You know, I'm tired of it, and I can talk the talk like many people do, or I can walk the walk, and I've decided to do that so I can be more of an advocate and get my voice out there more to make Chicago what it needs to be. This is not helping by being where I'm at now within that position.
Why is nothing changing? Why does Lori Lightfoot not implement the necessary changes to improve that once great city?
Her ego is bigger than the crime level here in Chicago. And she gets on the TV with her media availability meetings with the superintendent of the police here, and they constantly, every week, every other day, they're saying that the stats are down with violent crime and people shot and homicides. Listen, being on the other side of the radio as a dispatcher in Chicago, I'm like, this is nonsense. And we're telling, well, you guys are telling people lies, but being a part of this entity and working in that position and knowing that these are lies that are literally going out to citizens of Chicago that don't deserve to be hearing the nonsense. You know, I can't answer why she's doing it, but I can answer why I'm stepping aside, because I don't stand for that, and it's wrong. The crime has always been rampant in Chicago, but it's never been to the point under the direct leadership of Mayor Lightfoot. You know, they let these people in and out of jail. You got Kim Foxx's, doing her thing with just a revolving door. I don't know what to say about the mayor and her administration, because what they're saying is just a bunch of lies, and it's just so sad. And I really hope that we can kind of change this this corruption going on right here within Chicago. It's absolutely nonstop, and all she's doing is she's bringing these different things. NASCAR's coming to Chicago, a lot of Palooza Fest. She's out there celebrating. You know, she's out of control, and she's not focusing on the safety and the public well-being of her citizens, and it's trash. It's absolute trash.
And so obviously we're not the only ones who see it. You guys remember that massive viral interaction between a Chicago reporter and Mayor Lori Lightfoot during a press conference where Mayor Beetlejuice claimed that violent crime and homicide were on a downtrend. She said that in 2021 she was completely incorrect. She's also said it in 2022, but obviously that's once again completely incorrect. Downtown shootings continue to spike with 64% jump in 2022. The actual homicide rate might be down a little bit. It's still hovering in the same range, so it's not exactly something to write home about, but attempted homicide and shootings are up significantly, as well as pretty much every other violent crime. And people have had enough. At least people working within law enforcement. Over 2,000 police officers have quit. Now you have a 911 dispatcher who says, I've had enough, and is moving on with his life, I'd assume probably within the world of politics and political activism, against Mayor Lori Lightfoot. And it seems like the only people who haven't had enough of Mayor Lori Lightfoot are the woke downtown Chicago white liberals who continue to vote for her because I guess their communities are safe and it doesn't really affect them. So they continue to vote blue no matter who, and Mayor Lori Lightfoot is just the current candidate with a D next to her name. The whole thing is a massive disgrace. As crime continues to spike, what is Mayor Lori Lightfoot focused on? Reforming police, passing a law that outlaws police officers from pursuing foot chases. Therefore, criminals can just run away and the police won't even chase you. I mean, that just sounds like an absolutely genius idea to tackle crime. Of course it isn't. Shows you the priority of these woke lunatics. They have no intention of tackling crime. They'd rather tackle the boogeyman, the ghost, that is, white supremacist cops shooting unarmed black males, even though it almost never happens. Someone might say, well, it just happened a couple weeks ago with a young teenager during a car chase. Of course, they won't tell you that that individual turned around with his cell phone, aiming it at the police officers, almost like he had a firearm, and they responded. But of course, context isn't important. The only thing that's important is the left-wing narrative, and apparently it's more important than public safety, and even safety of black people residing in black communities. They're the ones dealing with the crime, yet these woke lunatic Democrats continue to side with criminals. An absolutely absurd notion. You know, people talk a whole lot about why particular inner city communities are doing so poorly economically. Well, you know what probably the number one driving factor is? Out of control crime and gangs. I mean, here's the thing. I love little neighborhoods with different cultural spins to them, different kinds of food and restaurants. And if I could go to a city like Chicago and go to the South Side and it was a safe place where I could experience a different culture and different kinds of barbecue and maybe soul food, maybe certain types of Caribbean and African cuisine, I would be a patron. I would go there and I would spend my money and the economy would flourish. But it's literally impossible to run a business in these types of environments. There's a reason why there aren't any Starbucks in South Side Chicago in some of the bad areas, because there's just so much violent crime that businesses cannot operate. How are these communities supposed to move forward with this out of control crime? And with Democrat politicians who enable the crime with their terrible policies, crime starts to spike through the roof, and then on the back end they say, well, crime's going down, folks. No wonder people are pissed and people are resigning. And no wonder it's people from within these communities who are the most pissed. But let's try to refocus here a little bit, because there's actually been another major resignation in the city of Chicago, this time coming out of Kim Foxx's office.
A Cook County prosecutor slamming DA Kim Foxx in a blistering resignation letter. Listen to this. If this administration was truly concerned with effectively fighting violent crime, then they would fully staff those courtrooms and units. Meanwhile, the rest of us are overworked, overstressed, and under-resourced. But at least we're allowed to wear jeans in July, obviously pointing out the focus of Kim Foxx's administration not being on crime, being on woke things like, hey, fun Fridays or jeans or whatever.
And once again, folks, it shows their priorities. More focused on office fun time and being able to wear jeans to work than they are actually prosecuting crimes. We all remember the infamous moment with Kim Foxx that we covered, I believe, back in 2021. I think it was late 2021, where there was a full-on gang shootout in the middle of the streets, broad daylight, with children around. I believe there were 4 or 5 individuals involved in the situation and lives were lost. I can't remember the reason anymore, but Kim Foxx found some sort of woke nonsense reason to drop all charges against these individuals. I mean, it was so bad, it was so dumb, it was so woke. Actually, here's a synonym. It was so woke that even Mayor Lori Lightfoot went on the record condemning Kim Foxx and her decision not to prosecute. Well, I guess we have the explanation, folks. Kim Foxx just didn't have the time to prosecute these gang members shooting in broad daylight in the streets in a residential community because she was focused on wearing jeans to work legislation, very important stuff. These people are downright crazy. I mean, the whole situation is just becoming sad. When is enough going to be enough? How many children have to be caught up in this violence? How many black lives have to be lost for these Democrats to take it seriously? I mean, for Pete's sakes, take a look at this headline over here just from last week. This situation from Baltimore, but Chicago, Baltimore, same thing. Really not much difference. Anti-violence activist who spray painted no shoot zones all over Baltimore was shot. San Francisco CEO mugged at gunpoint, warns Mayor Breed about the absolutely unacceptable crime rate. Are these headlines which are truly disheartening? Over 200 American law enforcement officers shot in 2022, a 14% increase from 2021, which was a massive increase from 2020, which was probably a massive increase from 2019, an epidemic that continues to expand. And Democrats Democrats are focused on, well, demonizing police officers and legalizing genes in the workspace. Stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. The reality is these people are living in a different reality, a different universe, where woke ideology and narratives trump facts and reality. Here's a great example. Pennsylvania Democrat Senate hopeful John Fetterman claims sanctuary cities make everybody safer. I'm sure that's the case in New York, Washington, D.C., Chicago, San Francisco, Oakland, Los Angeles, the list goes on and on. All these sanctuary cities who have essentially allowed the cartels to work unimpeded in their cities. I'm sure the fact at the end of the day is that sanctuary cities and open borders make everybody safer. These people are completely out of their minds and they shouldn't be anywhere near the levers of power. It's basically that simple. And if in places like Chicago, people working within the legal and law enforcement system, and even Democrats in Chicago who continue to go on the record slamming Lori Lightfoot if they know it, then it should be plainly obvious to everyone that these people are a complete disaster. Lori Lightfoot and Oliver Ilk, well, they just gotta go. That's what I got for you guys though. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the video if you feel like it. I'm gonna get back to work. I want to thank you guys for watching and I'll see you on the next one.